Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we're touring another Sims 4 Wandavision build. This one's based on episode 8 of Wandavision. You guys will probably be able to tell where it's from, but obviously I've taken liberties in areas to kind of match it with the Sims 4 in regard to apartments and such. This was a really fun build to do, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But without further ado, let's get into it. So yeah, the main thing for me going into this build was to get it as kind of correct as possible, but within the limitations of The Sims, as I was saying. And I think I managed that quite well. Obviously, there's some things that we couldn't manage, like the cabinets on the back wall over here. That was kind of hard to do just because of the windows, and obviously you can't move windows in apartment buildings in The Sims 4. So what we ended up getting was instead this kind of it's part way there. The thing I try to do is get kind of a cluttered feel as much as possible within the space that we had. Obviously, the apartment in Wandavision does have a lot more clutter, but we couldn't do too much of that here, you know, with space limitations and such like. So really, the kitchen was slightly toned back, but this was, I think, a decent fit considering what we saw on the show. You know, I tried to get the cabinets to a similar color. I mismatched some bits on purpose to kind of make it seem like, you know, this has been cobbled together rather than, you know, selected, something that they worked on over time and kind of when they had the ability to. The same is kind of true of the living room. I did add this rug because I felt like it kind of offset what was already kind of there in the show. Obviously in the show there doesn't seem to be a rug, but I didn't want to leave too much empty space. I feel like that would have been a criminal offense. And then we have the TV, which is obviously a big center point of this living room, but obviously is quite a small TV, and obviously a relatively old TV as well. This back wall is obviously where we see Wanda and Agatha come from in the episode. But what I did end up doing is to put the kids' bedrooms back there. Now, naturally in the show, it seems like they kind of make do, but I didn't want to leave such a blank kind of space in the house. And I thought with the layout that we kind of went for, that was probably the best option. In terms of what I did here, I kind of tried to stick to the characters' kind of colours. So Pietro's stuff is on the right, with the dinosaur, the velociraptor, to kind of subtly hint at the powers he has. And, you know, there's a few little animals on the desk. And, you know, I'm trying to go for something that's kind of run down, but kind of makes sense, generally speaking. And then in terms of Wanda's room, I kept the red, but I also wanted to kind of have an influence of Agatha across the room. And so I had those like purple clouds and the kind of nighttime sky there, just to kind of, you know, kind of insinuate the show's kind of themes throughout the build as well. And then we have what I assumed was the parents' bed out in the living room. Obviously, these partitions aren't in the show. In fact, most of this other side of the house isn't in the show. But I felt like it was kind of necessary to just demarcate slightly the kind of living zones of the house while still keeping like one room and giving that idea of like, you know, a sense of a lack of space. Over here, we obviously have the seating area. It did seem in the show that there was only 3 seats, so I tried to keep to that. I also made one of the seats mismatched here just to kind of, again, add that little bit of an extra vibe to it, add that extra little bit of like the eclecticism. And then obviously, if you guys see as well by the walls, I've added a lot of the markings and the broken walls and the cobwebs, just to give it a little bit more of a feel of it's being run down. As you guys can see here, I did change the placement of the door in the show. Wanda's father comes through the wall where the cabinet is here. But I thought, because of the way the apartment was set out, and obviously you can't move the main door of the apartment, to instead of change the layout to be slightly skewed in terms of placing it the other way and having the windows on the far wall instead of the front wall, I decided that it would be better to just kind of add a wall or add some features to that back wall rather than changing the whole layout. And then obviously there is a rug on the wall in the show, but there isn't really anything I have in the base game or any of the packs that kind of emulates that, so I decided to go for this kind of parchment. I thought that was kind of interesting in terms, again, of insinuating Scarlet Witch's powers, you know, trying to run the themes of the show through the build as well, so that you still get a feeling of WandaVision or Marvel or Scarlet Witch, even though you're not necessarily dealing with how the show portrayed the room, if that makes sense. And then finally, I added the bathroom just because obviously if anyone does want to use this as a functional living area in one of their builds or anything like that, it would obviously be best to have a bathroom. This is pretty much straightforward. You know, I didn't want to go too heavy on this. The only thing I did to kind of make it a bit more sensical in terms of this this kind of mismatched stuff is to kind of make it that they had a shower that was put together. You know, it's not necessarily the best. It's very DIY, and that's why I wanted something like this. Also, the fact that they don't really have any windows in here kind of adds to that. I was kind of tempted to go with something a little bit more grotty, but I feel like, you know, their house wasn't unclean. If you watch the show, it was definitely damaged and definitely run down in terms of, you know, they had a lot of older stuff, but it wasn't unclean. There was nothing about it that was unclean. I think that was very, very important to kind of say. You know, it's not that because you have, you know, older stuff in your house that you're necessarily untidy or unclean. And I kind of wanted to replicate that in the bathroom. I know that's kind of a weird point to make, but I think it's very important to kind of to say that, you know, just because you have older stuff or hand-me-down stuff doesn't mean it's unclean, doesn't mean it's uncouth or anything like that. So I really wanted to go with a kind of clean bathroom, even though it's a very understated bathroom. And really, guys, apart from other features, I kind of left the walls very empty. I felt like in the show there was just like small photos all around the place. There wasn't any kind of great degree of wall art or anything like that. So generally I left that free. The few things that I did miss out, like I say, there were the cabinets on the wall. There is actually a side table behind the bed, but it was kind of hard proportioning wise to kind of add that. And then in terms of stuff that I added in, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to have a like music box, a record player, just because the show kind of deals with a lot of musical numbers as well. So again, leading into that feeling of Wandavision without necessarily copying like for like from the show. But yeah, I think it turned out really well, guys. I'm like really happy with it. This is obviously the first of a few Wandavision builds that I'm going to be doing this week as a kind of Wandavision week ahead of and surrounding the finale of the show. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a rundown of this first one. If you guys want to see me build it, I do still have that VOD up on my Twitch for a little bit. If you guys want to go and see that, you'll be able to find it there. I intend to kind of do a little bit of a different video with everyone. I think I'll probably do a speed build for my next one, and then potentially a kind of condensed stream recording for the final one, depending on how things go. But I hope you guys enjoyed this build. I know it's a very small one, a very quick one, but it's something that I really wanted to kind of get right. I thought it was kind of a very inspirational moment in the show, and I kind of wanted to reflect that in the design of this house. So if you guys want to download this, it will be on the gallery as Sokovian apartment, and it'll be under the name of Peralta1420. And if you want to keep up on what we're doing next with Wandavision Week, check my socials in the description. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.